Do you know that you might be already owning 100 mutual funds right now without realizing it? And even if you're holding 5 to 10 mutual funds, chances are that you might be drowning under overlapping stocks, zero extra returns, and hidden cost. And there is this little dirty secret about over diversification. It looks safe, but it is actually diversification. And in the next few minutes, I will prove it to you with real data. Most investors think more funds equal to more safety, but research says something else. I'm going to show you 3 powerful research studies done in this field that proves exactly how many funds are required for an optimal portfolio, and beyond that number it can silently destroy your returns. There is another trap most investors fall into called the shiny object syndrome, and constant urge to add one more new fund because it looks very exciting, it looks very different, simply because taking action feels like being very smart. In reality, it is just adding clutter to your portfolio. In a bit, I will show you why this happens and, more importantly, how to overcome this. Statistically, after 20 to 30 stocks, your diversification benefit almost flatlines. By mixing Flexicap, Multicap, hybrid, large and mid-cap, you are not getting actually 30 stocks. You are getting exposed to 100 stocks, sometimes 150 holdings. Many of them holding exactly the same names repeatedly. For example, one of the oldest Flexicap funds I'm taking for a reference has 88 stocks. Again, one of the largest multi-cap funds has 129 stocks. Add a hybrid fund with another 60 stocks, an index fund with 50 stocks. An investor ends up with 150 to 200 unique stocks in his portfolio. So instead of being smartly diversified, you are just copying the index, paying fund fees for no reason. The worst part, you may think you have built a fortress, but in market crash, all these funds will still fall together. Stick with me because I will show you data on how many funds are actually optimal in a portfolio. Proof that beyond a point, you are just killing returns. You are not reducing risk, and a simple framework to escape this trap so that you can achieve true diversification without the chaos. So I am sharing 2 charts here to prove there is an optimal range for the number of funds to hold, after which the benefit just drops. Y-axis shows average terminal wealth, meaning how much money an investor ends up making after 5 years of period holding. X-axis shows the number of funds in an investor's portfolio, from 1 all the way to 10 funds. At first, holding one fund on an average wealth is the highest in the portfolio. Adding a few funds, 2 to 4, causes wealth to drop. After 4 funds, the average wealth stabilizes. It does not increase by adding more funds. In fact, sometimes it dips slightly. Same story with 10 years. Adding funds drops your average wealth rapidly from just holding 3 to 4 funds. After 3 or 4 funds, returns flatten and they don't improve with more funds. In some cases, too many funds actually lead to lower end wealth. This data proves that adding more funds does not mean higher return or even lower risk. In fact, after 3 to 4 funds, the advantage are nearly gone, and holding more can hurt performance. So simple is smart, more is not better. So aim to hold around 3 to 4 diversified fund. That's the sweet spot where protection and return both balances out. But focus on funds with different strategies. Don't just add lots of funds from the same category. If you're owning more than 5 funds, then please consider trimming it down, consider slimming it. Remember, data shows that you don't need dozens of funds. Quality beats quantity. This was a Swedish research done using Swedish funds and global index funds. If you like to receive a copy of this report, please drop a comment and I will share it with you. This research was done using principles of modern portfolio theory and risk-return modeling through Monte Carlo simulations. These are universally accepted in finance and portfolio analysis. The principles apply everywhere, including in India, because diversification and logic and risk return maths are all the same. Here is another shocking fact. Across the entire Indian mutual fund industry, most equity schemes together typically invest in only about 400 listed stocks. That means when you keep adding more and more funds to your portfolio, you're not actually getting access to new opportunities or new stocks. You're just owning the same 400 names again and again in different wrapper. So instead of diversification, what you're really doing is you're building a giant closed-set index. But there is a category of funds called the focus fund. Some of them have just 20 stocks, some have 30 stocks. This category of funds are the opposite of the over-diversified closed-set index that we are talking. Here, every stock really matters. A single bad pick can hurt, but a smart pick can make a huge difference. So you're not paying fees to replicate the index. You are paying for skill, for judgment, and for high conviction bets. But even in this category, investors keep adding multiple of these funds, defeating the whole idea of concentration if that is what you want. Focus funds are minimalist of the mutual fund world. They don't hoard, they don't clutter your portfolio. They say, look, you don't need 100 funds to look smart, just 20 stocks or 30 stocks. However, there is no guarantee that it will be more successful, as I said earlier. Remember, my job here is not to give you a prescription. My idea here is to bring varying conflicts in the investing brain to the open so that we can address the behavioral challenges of investing. It is up to each individual to decide the portfolio construct based on your risk score, goals, duration. But once you arrive at it, the idea I'm giving is not to drift away from that due to multiple factors I've covered in this video and various other videos in this channel. And here is where the shiny object syndrome comes in. Most investors fall into this trap without even realizing it. They see a new fund launch, a catchy theme, or an impressive past return, and the brain tells them act equals to smartness. The result, more funds are added, another overlapping stock, another layer of fees, all while actual diversification is barely moving the needle. It's emotionally satisfying, but it's a financial clutter. Research shows that the urge to constantly chase the next big thing does not improve returns, it just increases complexity and the cost. In short, your portfolio does not need novelty, it needs discipline. And later in this video, I will show you a practical way to fight this urge so your money, your mind stays focused on what truly matters. In fact, overlap itself is inherently not the problem. Take the Nifty 500 index for an example. You are deliberately replicating a large universe of stocks, and that's exactly the point I'm trying to make. My intention isn't to say overlap is good or bad. The real question is that what you actually want? Are you building your portfolio consciously or just letting it happen? This research indicates that holding between 15 to 30 stocks can effectively reduce unsystematic risk to a minimum. Beyond this range, the benefits of diversification diminishes significantly. For small cap portfolios, peak diversification can be achieved with around 26 stocks. In large cap portfolio, diversifying beyond 15 stocks yield to minimal addition of risk reduction. Ultimately, adding funds is easy. It makes us feel good, smart, and our brain loves constant action. But clutter happens, and cleaning up the portfolio is inevitable. Think of it like a surgery. Emotionally, it's painful. Just as a surgeon would not operate on his loved ones alone, he would call in for another expert to handle the delicate work. You may also need help to declutter your portfolio. Work with an expert. Work with your portfolio surgeon. It could be your trusted advisor or MFD to carefully prune the funds, manage taxes, handle chaos, and yes, in theory, you could even replace everything with a single Nifty 50 or a Nifty 500 index fund. But remember, your brain will still crave for more. If you like the content of this video, please consider hitting the like button, share it with your friends, and please consider subscribing to this channel.